Hi, and good afternoon, and welcome, and thank you for joining us for part 2 of our series. And today is part 2 of Meet the Realtor, and we're going to be focusing today on why it is very important, especially in this market, to be represented by a realtor when you are a buyer. And just in case you weren't with us last time for week 1 of our series, by way of introduction, my name's Gina Campanella. I am the attorney among this trio. You'll be hearing a little bit more from me next week in part 3 of our series. I am with Campanella Law Office in Wyckoff, New Jersey and Neptune, New Jersey. I am one of the partners working with the Helping Healthcare Professionals Find Their Way Home initiative, which we'll tell you a little bit more about.
Great, thanks, Gina. My name is Nakia Rizvani. You can call me Nikki. I am with Keller Williams in New Jersey. We have a team, the Rizvani Group, and it was just announced today that we are the number 3rd Keller Williams in the world, our office. So that's pretty cool. That's a big deal. It's a big world, although it's become so much smaller because we can all be together so intimately in this way. So welcome. I've been in the business going on 13 years. We have a pretty strong team. We sell just over 30 million a year in real estate. And we specialize in Northern New Jersey, Bergen, Passaic County. We'll go into Morris County, but we have a great network of agents across the state and the country. So no matter where you're coming from, even if you are not looking to buy or sell in this Northern New Jersey area, we would be happy to refer you and find you someone that you could work with. And with that said, I want to introduce Andras. We call him Andrew Cazella. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Andrew.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Again, I'm Andras Cazella. I work with Nikkei on the Rizvani Group. We're out of Ridgewood, New Jersey. Again, we serve all of Northern New Jersey and actually now into New York. So if anybody's looking to buy or sell in those areas, we'd love to work with you. I've been in real estate for almost 5 years, but before that, I was a registered nurse for over 20 years. So this helping healthcare professionals find their way home is very near and dear to me, and I really do feel like teaming up with Gina and the Campanella Law Office, we can certainly foster a relationship and really help those who serve others. So it makes me very happy to bring this forward. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. You know, it's we're here to tell us today why it's important for people to use a buyer's agent when looking for a home.
Definitely, and we did focus for those that are just joining us for the first time this week. Last week, part 1 of our series did focus on why it's important to use an agent when you're selling your home. If you did miss that, that is on the firm's YouTube channel. So you can just go to our homepage, click on the YouTube link. It's all there. If you have any trouble finding it, just reach out to me. This session will also be on the firm's YouTube channel once it's processed. So you can go back, take a look at it, share it with anybody you like if they weren't able to join us. And just incidentally, in addition to what Andrew said, the firm is also, I am also licensed in New York. So if you're looking in New York or New Jersey, we'd be happy to assist you.
Yep, and I'll be throwing this onto the Nikki Knows Homes, Nikki Knows Homes YouTube channel as well. But really, my son will be doing it, so I'm still figuring that out.
So Nikki and Andrew, do you want to jump into telling our lunchtime guests why it's incredibly important to have someone like you on their side?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I took a few notes about what we wanted to talk about today, and it was how to hire the best real estate agent, the best buyer's agent for free. Now, you don't pay for your buyer's agent. Ultimately, we are compensated through the sellers. So as a buyer, you can work with anyone, right, Andrew?
Yeah, that's actually so super important. I can't think of another anybody that you can use that works so hard and is so important to the transaction that you don't actually pay. It blows my mind. It's really unfathomable that you can have this opportunity to work with somebody who is so focused on helping you, and such a trusted partner that you don't have to pay. It's really kind of beautiful for the buyers.
Right. And I mean, all real estate agents, just like thumbprints, are not alike. So you may want to consider some things when you are looking for representation. And we say buyer's agent because that means that we would be representing you in the transaction, and our fiduciary is to you. You know, you can work with anyone, so why not work with the best? So some things to consider, right? I would say, Andrew, would be there's the team approach. Okay.
Certainly.
I've been an individual agent, so has Andrew. We have found that we can just do more and go further as a team because we all specialize in different pieces of the transaction. So Andrew, as a buyer's agent, what makes you more efficient by being on the team?
Well, you know, I have other resources to bounce ideas off of. If I have a question, something that haven't come up before, I have multiple people I can immediately contact and say, listen, what do you think about this? What has your experience been? That's one thing. We work on a team. We have preferred partners as well, which is really beautiful. It's like an instant resource for people that we work and trust to immediately give me an answer if I don't have it. And you know, having more experience in the field, you're able to now work your way through issues. And you know, that's the more you do, the more experience you get with anything else. You put your 10,000 hours and you become an expert at these things.
And by preferred partners, what we mean is, you know, for example, our attorney, Gina, okay? I can call her anytime, weekends, day, night, with a question, regardless of whether you, my client, have hired her already.
Absolutely.
We have inspectors where we can be in a house, we are showing a house, we're not sure what it is we're looking at because we are not contractors or inspectors. We know a lot about construction. But we can easily get that information for you. We have somebody who does all of our paperwork. She is an expert, not in a legal way like Gina, but she is an expert at keeping us organized, keeping you organized, making sure that you have sent your deposit in at the right time, making sure that you're following up with your mortgage. She's somebody who just does that for us.
Right.
We have the agents like Andrew. We have a couple other agents on our team who specialize in different things. So maybe you want to purchase an investment property. Well, we have somebody that's really good with that. Real estate owned property. You want somebody in New York? Oh, I want to go over the border into New York. Well, I can't do that, but Andrew can. So that's the beauty of having the team approach. You get a lot of people for one price that you're not even having to pay.
Right, and we're all the same team. But we have our connections too. You know, we always want to say, I got a guy for that. We have that. So
right.
I'm able to refer out a lot of our partners who do repeat business because we give them referrals, and that's kind of how it works. It's a very word of mouth business. But doing it as long as we've been doing it, and as successful as we've been, we're able to build partnerships with different people that you normally wouldn't have any experience with, and especially with Gina and you know, being able to have that trusted partnership between us makes us a stronger team.
And I know, you know, as far as it's a pretty tough market right now, and it's a very competitive market. So, and also I want to remind everyone, if you want to write in a question, right, Gina, they just type it in to the box.
Oh, yes, there is a question box. You can just type in your question. It'll pop up on my screen and I can share it with Nikki and Andrew.
Right, good. Please do, because we want to answer your questions. But with that said, Andrew, as a buyer's agent, he has his pulse on exactly what's happening in the town that you're focusing on, and he will be on that every single day, 3, 4, 5 times a day. He will put houses on watch lists. If you say, oh my goodness, I missed that house, if it comes back on the market, he'll get alerted right away. He's looking for what's not on the MLS too. Okay, we can work with for sale by owners and still represent you. A lot of people want representation when they're dealing with a seller who does not have it. We have lists of homes that we are going to be listing a coming soon type of a list. We'll tap into what we have and see if those sellers maybe would like to sell sooner rather than later.
I actually have two questions that I think go really right to the heart of the market we're in right now. So the first one is, what are the benefits of having a realtor in this type of market where it seems like every house is going into a bidding war?
Good question.
Well, we can. So this is a fantastic question. So I'll answer that one first. So let's say you are looking for a house and you love the house. There are certain things that we look for that maybe the untrained eye can't see. Also, we can find things on the MLS faster. You know, if we can go back in the history of the home, any kind of environmental issues. And a lot of times when buyers are going into a home that they love, maybe on a street that they always wanted to be on, it's not the exact house, but it's pretty close. For example, they may have something we refer to as rose-colored glasses on. I don't have that. I'm sure Nakia does, and our buyers agents. We've gone through so many houses that we can see through the home where there's no emotional investment for us, so we can see what's wrong with the home if it's worth purchasing. So in this market, people are overbidding on, in my opinion, on houses, but they're not going to appraise when it comes time to sell it to the bank. Later down in the transaction, you'll find a lot of things are coming back on the market. So we need to kind of rein our buyers in to say, this house, while it's a great house, unless you are going to be purchasing in cash or putting a significant amount of money down, it's not going to work out in the end because it's just not going to appraise. So you can.
With that said, too, you still want a house, you need a house, and hey, maybe you are willing to pay $20,000, $30,000 over asking price. So you get our expertise on how to make that happen and put that deal together. So we have ideas.
It's not just about putting the most money in. It's about putting the strongest offer forward, which you have to, honestly, it's competitive. You have to beat out quite a few other agents and other buyers.
So there are some tricks to the trade about how we get our offers accepted that has to do with appraisal contingencies. What's also important when you are submitting an offer is the relationship that your buyer's agent has with the listing agents. So what's nice is the relationship doesn't end with just that buyer's agent. So Andrew can say to me, hey, Nakia, I just showed this house. I'm writing up this offer. Have you ever worked with this listing agent? Well, no, I haven't, but Pat has. She's on our team too. Pat's worked with her many times. Give Pat a call, talk to her about this agent and how she operates and how we can best present your offer so that that agent is going to have confidence in working with us. So we have solely gotten offers accepted because an agent has said, I know if I put this together with the Risvani group, it's going to get to the closing table. I know their buyer is pre-approved, not only by any old lender, but somebody that they've spoken to, probably they've recommended. I know that this buyer coming with the Risvani group, who's very experienced and really values their clients, are going to pass on good inspectors, quality ones that are going to communicate well with and explain the home to the buyers. And they're going to work with attorneys that are real estate attorneys, not, divorce attorneys in litigation in court, right? How important it is to have the right attorney in the transaction.
That's such an incredible point. And I think just to elaborate on what you both said, it's really critical, I think, to work with people who are experienced. And it's like you said, as a buyer, you can pick the best of the best. You're not paying, okay? You're getting all these services for free. You're buying the house for whatever price the house is, whether you use it in Realtor or not. And I have had deals live and die based on the relationships between the realtors, based on the attorneys, based on the quality of inspector that we have. And I tell my clients a lot, and one of the reasons that, you know, many of the realtors I work with, quite frankly, say they enjoy working with me is because I really treat my realtors as the quarterback of the whole transaction. They're the quarterback. I'm just one of the players on their team. And that's really what your realtor is for you. They're the ones bringing in all of the professionals you're working with, and it's their professional relationship with all of those people that's really going to take care of your purchase. And it's exactly what Nikki said. I've seen deals die in attorney review because the attorney on the other side could be a wonderful litigator, but was not a real estate attorney and just didn't get it, and didn't get what could and could not be reasonably negotiated for in an attorney review period. Now that said, I'll transition into our second question that we had, which kind of goes to, you're the buyer, you're getting all of this for free. And the question is, I'm seeing a lot of people in my neighborhood post, I'm selling by owner, anyone interested, let me know. What is the benefit to them if I show up with a realtor that they have to pay, rather than if I just show up on my own?
Okay. Well, Andrew, when you call it for sale by owner, what usually happens? Are they willing to cooperate with you?
They are, and the reason they are is they usually very quickly understand that they're way in over their heads. There's a lot of moving parts to selling and purchasing a home, as we all know. And if you do it wrong, you can be taken advantage of by somebody who's maybe not as trustworthy as somebody else. And also, the deals, generally speaking, in for sale by owner usually don't go to closing. They generally do fall apart, and the real estate agent will pick it up at some point. On the transactions we've had for sale by owner, let's say we're on the buying end, the sellers actually are very thankful to us at the end of the transaction, because we've taken care of so much of really both ends of the deal at that point, for buyer and seller, because they're just not aware of what needs to get done and the processes that need to take place. So we end up really picking up the slack for both ends. And they're generally able to, if whatever the normal commission payout would be, they're usually okay with that, splitting that in half anyway. So at the end of the day, they're still paying a realtor, the for sale by owners.
They are. We can give them a break on the commission because we're not, our costs aren't going to be as much, although we usually find out that we end up working to help them get through. Like, we're advising them and we're not even representing, it's tough. It's tough, but we've figured it out. So the for sale by owners, yes, they will work with us. They're willing to pay out a commission, which is reduced because we are not listing their homes and marketing their homes and dealing with all of that. And you know what? At the end of the day, our fiduciary is to our buyers. So if our buyer reaches out to us and say, there's this for sale by owner, I'm interested in seeing it, and we call up and the reaction is they want nothing to do with the real estate agent, our fiduciary is to our buyer, and we will say to our buyer, we wish you well, you will have to go on your own. I can't help you with this, but we're not going to, block this in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
We'll say, go ahead, ask them the following questions, but hire a really good attorney, because you're not going to have any representation from us.
Right.
You're losing a big, right? Just as Gina said, we're all working together. You're going to lose a very big advocate in your corner if you do so. And again, it's as far as the buyer goes, it's free, and there's really no reason. In my head, I can't figure out what anybody would buy a house without a real estate agent. It doesn't actually make any sense. You're not paying for them, and you can have the best people on your side and not pay for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so unless there's any other questions, should we talk a little bit about the buying process, Andrew?
Sure. So obviously you have to go out and start looking at homes. That we need to, one of the big things is you need to be pre-approved first. So we have lenders that we work with.
Yep, Annie Mac, Jason Leibowitz of Annie Mac is amazing, and they've partnered on this, helping healthcare professionals find their way home. We have had so many transactions with them, right?
Yeah, they're really fantastic. They were able to do things that are quite magical, honestly. And our buyers are always happy with them consistently, time and time again. They get fantastic rates, and the service is unmatched, in my opinion. That brings homes to the closing table more times than I can count with anybody else. So being pre-approved is, in my opinion, the very first step. Then, we certainly talk to our buyers individually and see what they're looking for. I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want to show them houses that they're not interested in, or homes they can't afford in areas they don't want. So really gearing the home buying process towards each individual buyer is really the key. I don't want to show you homes that you don't want to buy or you can't afford. It's on a busy street, or it's in a flood zone, things like that. So that's how
we
we
listen. We really listen, and we don't want to spend your money and push you in any direction that you are not comfortable with. We find that the buyers that work with us tend to be clients for life, and will come back to us when they're ready to upgrade and sell, and so on and so forth. So once we get you pre-approved, Andrew gets you on that email list, and then you get them out. And how do you deal with COVID, Andrew?
So there's obviously COVID waivers. We have to make sure that you haven't been in contact with anybody with COVID, or you're yourself not sick with COVID. We have masks, so we can provide gloves for you, and booties, usually hand sanitizer, things like that. So we just ask that for the time being, that no children come along. It's usually just if there's one or two adults that are in the purchase, that they were to be the ones to attend. And that's just kind of keeping everybody socially distant, and being smart about our showings. We've done during COVID, more in the springtime, we did virtual showings. We did it was a Facebook Live, I think it was, right? Where we had the sellers go through the house with the cell phone,
Zoom
right?
open houses. Yeah, we'll do what we need to do. We had some people from Michigan needing to relocate, and they ended up buying the house virtually, but it worked out. Our attorney was a little questionable about it, but it ended up working out. And we have a beautiful buyer brochure. So the first time you meet with us, you'll receive a folder with the buying process and preferred vendors that we work with, all sorts of good information about moving, right, Andrew?
Right. So once we go through the house, we'll make an appointment. We'll go through the house. We'll try to bunch the houses together if we can. If there's more than one, we'll make an appointment and try to coordinate your time schedule. And we go through the home, and you'll have somebody who's on your team looking at a house with you, able to discern whether this is a major issue or something that's easily resolved, something that is part of the listing. So if the listing mentions an issue, for example, I'm looking at a home this weekend, and on it says the septic is failed. So going into the home with my buyers, we already know that the septic has failed. So when it comes on, and it says on the MLS listing that that part of the sale is as is, and the sellers are not going to repair, where normally they would, but since it's on the MLS and it's mentioned, my clients and I are going in knowing full well that this is the issue with the house, and it's not going to be addressed by the seller. So going in, if you were for sale by owner, you may not know that. If you're going without an agent, you may not see that. You come in, and all of a sudden now there's a failed septic.
Right.
Then there's things that you do extra research on, right? Is it a flood zone? We tend to know the flood zone areas. I can kind of walk right into a house also and have a pretty good idea if it gets water in the basement.
Smell the mold, right? Sure.
Smell the mold. Yeah, we don't like smelling mold, but we do. Things like that, definitely. And then once you find the house you love, Andrew, he's right there.
Well, so yes, it's like Gina was saying, there's a good relationship and doing a lot of repeat business in our same areas. We know the majority of the agents out there. There's a very small amount of agents that do the majority of the work, just that 80-20 rule. And having that repeat business and relationship, we're able to get the majority of listings that we put offers in on. So we know how to win a multiple offer situation when there's 10, 15, 20 offers. Again, it's not always just the highest offer. It's the most presentable, the strongest offer, things like that. So that's really one of the most important things with buying a home too.
Yeah, we strategize with you. It's truly like we sit down, we strategize, we're looking at the transaction in all different directions and guiding you and thinking 2 steps ahead. At the end of the day, we work for you and we will communicate what you want us to communicate. We keep confidential what you want us to keep confidential. And we'll tell you the tough things when they need to be said too. So
Right.
We have another question, and this is an interesting one for you guys. What if I'm working with you as a buyer's agent and you get a listing for a house I want to buy?
sure.
What-
So
What
what happens is we become a disclosed dual agent. And that doesn't only happen when you want to purchase a home that's listed, Nakia Rizvani Group, Keller Williams. We become a disclosed dual agent when you want to purchase any home listed with Keller Williams Village Square. Okay, so our office, again, we're number 3 in the world.
The office is number 3 in the world, not just in the
Number
MLS.
3, yes.
Yeah.
Not exactly. So we have over 500 agents. So we have a great spread of listings. So anytime you want to purchase a Keller Williams Village Square realty listing, we are a disclosed dual agent. So what that means is we legally represent the seller and we represent the buyer. So our fiduciary is to both. Some people can really be confused by that. It's rare, not rare, it happens a couple times a year where it's actually our own listing and we have intimate knowledge of the seller. And I think that's probably the question that you have. And in that regard, we have fiduciary to both, and we immediately disclose to you, this is our listing. Here's the seller's disclosure. I'm giving to you exactly what you would be getting from any well-marketed listing. Here's the information that I can disclose. For example, though, if our seller had a certain motivation for selling, sometimes there's a loss in the family or somebody's sick, and they have to sell, they have very bad financial situation. Some sellers will say, yes, tell them why I'm selling. I want this sold, I want this done, tell them. Some sellers will say, this is personal, this is private, I don't want that disclosed, and we would not disclose that. In the same regard, if you as a buyer had to buy a house on that street where some situations our buyers are going through a divorce and their children are going to that elementary school, or their ex maybe lives around the corner and they want the kids to be able to walk back and forth. They want that house, but they don't want that seller to know that. Maybe they feel like it would put them in a weaker position for negotiating. Then our fiduciary is to only disclose what you want us to disclose. So we would not disclose that. Right. Now, if there's something wrong with the home and it has been disclosed to us, first of all, we tell the sellers that has to be on the seller's disclosure. Okay. You know about it. Your neighbors know about it. The inspector's going to know about it. You need to disclose that. We have to disclose that to you. Okay. So we can't hide defects in a home, and we want nothing to do with anybody who wants us to do that. So that's how we've managed disclosed dual agency in the past. Now, the other piece, though, which is interesting, is, like I said, we have a team, we have procedures in place that have worked very well. If we have a hot listing and we have multiple offers coming in, I'm managing all the marketing and the listing of that house. Andrew is going to bring an offer in. I know we're having multiples. I will post on the MLS. We are going to have final and best due at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. Email buyers agents, all of you, whether you're Andrew, whether you're with the blue team, the yellow team, whatever, send your offers to our broker of record. And I put her email address, and all the offers go to our broker. They don't come to me. I don't see any offers or know anything about them. That
we may know the kind of offers. That's it. Yeah.
I feel, and again, I in the past, I've had to navigate multiple offers, and I didn't do it that way, and it worked out fine, because it's not about me and what I'm earning. It's about you, the buyer, getting the house, the seller selling the house. But anyhow, with this regard, our offers all go to the broker. We get a spreadsheet that gets organized as all the offers. We send them to the sellers, and that's how we navigate a little sticky situations, and that's worked out well. I don't know, Gina, what do you think about that concept?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a really excellent question, and it's one that, quite frankly, I get asked very frequently when I am representing clients on buyer or seller side who are represented by disclosed dual agent. I will get that question. It'll very frequently be one of the first questions they ask me. You know, I'm a little concerned. It's a disclosed dual agent. What does that mean? Can I trust the agent? And first and foremost, it's typically an agent I know quite well who has the utmost of ethics, like the two of you. So it's not even a question. I can say with absolute certainty, no, that I'm confident everything will go smoothly. You know, all ethical provisions will be observed. You know, you can rest assured nothing is going to happen here. But I do think that that's why in that situation, it is particularly important for the buyer or the seller to also be working with a knowledgeable attorney, because even if you have just a little bit of a concern, which you shouldn't, okay, for the reasons just explained to you, but it's human nature, okay, to have concerns. Even if you have just a little bit of a concern, I can't represent both sides, okay? I can't be disclosed dual. So you can still, I mean, I've had clients that have every step of the way said, how do you feel about this? How's this going? What do you think about this? And I've reassured them every step of the way, nope, this is exactly how it's supposed to go, whether it's disclosed dual or not. Everything's happening perfectly, everything's appropriate, don't worry. Not because anything happened that made them concerned, but just, again, it's human nature. It's probably the biggest purchase any one of us are going to make in our entire life. You know, so that's even more so, I think, in that situation, why I would recommend it's critical to make sure you have an experienced real estate attorney and a real estate attorney who works frequently in the area where you're buying. Because I have also had real estate attorneys who are not familiar with this area. They're from, you know, a different area of New Jersey, or they're in New York, but they happen to be licensed in New Jersey. You know, I practice throughout the entire state of New York and New Jersey, but for my real estate practice, I always try to practice in places where I am geographically familiar, which for me is Bergen, Essex County, you know, Hudson County, and the Jersey Shore. These are all places I've lived. These are all places where, you know, I could give directions in my sleep, you know, things like that. And I think that's critical if you are in a disclosed dual agent situation, not because I think there's anything wrong with it, but just for your own peace of mind. I have another question. Okay. This is a good one, and one I actually just got from a client this morning.
Okay.
Answer first. Given today's market, how difficult is it to coordinate the sale of a current home with the purchase of a new home?
It's definitely adds some challenges, but we do it every day. Just did it today, as a matter of fact.
I mean, we sometimes have to be creative, and if you're on the selling side, what we've made part of the listing agreement, the contract, is home contingent on seller finding a home to purchase, actively looking. We've come up with closings with options, use of occupancy agreement. Our attorneys usually discourage it, but they've had to be creative with that.
Depends who's moving in where.
Yeah. Right. We do a lot of juggling. I'm not going to lie. Like, the one thing that I feel for is the buyer, the seller is the moving trucks. Oh my goodness. Like, because things, just a lot of juggling, and it's a lot of communication, and it's about your attorney, your buyer agent, your seller agent. everybody, the title company. There is no such thing as over communication since COVID has hit, right, Gina? Like over communicating with we're in conversations with title agencies that we've never been in conversations with before, and quite frankly, I don't even really want to, but I have to because we want to keep the deal together. So it's just a lot of juggling, but we do it all the time. We did it today.
The one thing I will add that if you are in that situation, do not even think of going it alone. If you are if you are in that situation, you absolutely need a listing agent for your home selling. You need a buyer's agent for your home you're buying. I quite frankly recommend using the same agent for both. And I also recommend using the same attorney for both. Because it's, I have tried to coordinate simultaneous closings with attorneys that won't even get on the phone with me. I had a client I had to arrange. It was in New York. She was selling her home in New York. And, before they even decided where they were going to move to, so obviously didn't know me. I didn't have the opportunity to work with them on the New York sale. And I said to her at one point, I need to call your New York attorney. Well, she says to me, well, he says you can't call him or else he's going to charge me more. And I said, I'd like to see him try. Give me his number.
Right.
But it's, so again, the client I had asked me about that this morning is a new client coming in. And I said, please, unless you've already hired someone for your sale, I'd like the opportunity to do both, because there's, as Nikki said, it's tons of coordination, and it's so much easier if you have. It's much easier for me to coordinate with myself than with someone else, especially if someone else is the easiest person to coordinate with. And I don't see it being possible, especially in this market, unless you are working with realtors on both sides.
Very well said. I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without realtors.
I couldn't do it without having my multiple people supporting me and doing it. It's a lot, but it can be done, and we do it all the time. So
we do it all the time, and honestly, especially individuals like us, part of the reason why I enjoy working with agents like Nikki and Andrew so much is because they very much have the same mentality I do. A lot of times for a seller's closing, especially now in COVID, I don't go. You don't go. Nobody goes. Right. Just buyers go, and I prepare paperwork in advance. I meet up with the seller, we sign it in advance, and I overnight it to wherever the closing is happening. And especially now, I've had clients where they're like, oh, Gina, I can't come to your office that day. My movers are coming. And I said, no sweat, you're 2 towns over. I'll come meet you. and we're in the driveway while movers are being pointed to with boxes for work. So that's why those are the types of things you have to keep in mind, especially if you have something that's going to be a little more complex than the average transaction when you're picking your team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So
I think
this has been great.
Yeah, we're just about up on about 40 minutes. So for everybody for being here today, and thank you for your questions. Nikki and Andrew, you want to just let everybody know again how they can contact you? They will get an email with all of our contact information. But if you just want to
well, first of all, you're the hostess with the mostest. I'm so happy to have you organizing all this for us. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
So again, we're with Keller Williams on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us at Nikki Knows Homes, NIKKIKNOWS Homes. And you will receive everything from Gina, but my phone number is 551-206-6698. Andrew, whether you contact him or I, we are, you will get to the same place, but share your contact info, Andrew.
Sure. My email is andras.realtor@gmail.com. My number is 973-214-2536. And again, if you choose Nakia or I, you choose a team, and it doesn't matter who you contact, but we'll all work for you. And hopefully you choose Gina as well. We appreciate the time, and we'll see you next week.
And tune in next
Definitely.
week.
And-
Awesome.
Yeah. And likewise, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at GLC Business Law. That's also my website. My email is gina@glcbusinesslaw. And please join us next week, because I will be talking significantly more next week, and I like company questions. And what I will really be talking about predominantly is what you can expect and what you should expect from your attorney as either a buyer or seller in your transaction. So we hope to see you next week. You will get your follow-up email with all of our information. Thank you for joining us for lunch today. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. See you next week.